So I used to think that if I could just practice the guitar all day, every day, and just eat enough food and water to survive, that's mainly what would make me a great musician, and that would make me the musician that I wanted to be. But over the past year or so, I've really changed my perspective on that. And I really feel that if you want to be the best artist that you can be, it's an all-encompassing thing. And even though we might think of certain things as guitar practice and certain other things as not guitar practice and totally unrelated, I'm really beginning to feel that it's the whole experience of your life. And you can actually practice the guitar just as much by doing things that do not involve practicing the guitar at all. So just a quick example of kind of what I'm talking about. When I was a kid, I was really into sports, and I used to get a subscription to like Sports Illustrated for Kids magazine or something like that. And I remember every month they would send this like little placard that you could pull out of the magazine and hang on your wall, because I did that. And each month it would be about a different athlete, a famous athlete like Michael Jordan or Bo Jackson or Larry Bird. And it would have things about them, it would have their accomplishments, why they're a great athlete. And then I remember there's this little tiny column that was something along the lines of personal advice. It was something that supposedly that particular person had said, and they're giving advice to someone who wants to do something similar to what they do. So they would say something like, work hard, or go the extra mile, or study film, be the best you can be, whatever. And I remember one time the placard was on Dr. J. So if you're a basketball fan, you know who Dr. J was, the great Julius Erving. Julius Erving was like Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan. And I remember his personal advice was, clean up your life off the court. And he said something along the lines of, if you have a bunch of stuff going on in your life that you need to clean up, when you go to play the game, you're going to be distracted. Your mind's going to be focused on other things. You're not going to be able to play the best you can and do the things that you need to do. So he said, clean those things up. Take care of those things that are not related to basketball, so that when you come back to basketball, you have a fresh mind, you have a clear perspective, you have no distractions or very minimal distractions, and you can do the best that you really can. So that's kind of the point that I'm making in this video, is that I think there are things that we can do to clean things up away from the guitar, and especially with some of the things I've experienced, I think they're just as beneficial as sitting in the practice room for hours and hours, working on something in particular that's very specific to guitar playing. Because I think these things improve everything about your body and your kind of existence. And that's what I've really felt by exploring these other areas and getting them more under control than they used to be. And whenever I'm talking about, your body and your habits, I know that these things don't apply to everyone. Some people can do whatever they want to do on an instrument for whatever reason without doing any of these things I'm about to talk about. But if you're like me, you kind of feel like you need a leg up. You might feel like you need an extra advantage that other people don't have to just try and get up there with people that you look up to and that you want to play like. If you're like me in that way and you feel like you need, kind of all the advantages that you can get, then I would take a look at some of these areas and if you need to, do some things differently. And I think they will directly correlate to the work that you do on the guitar, because it puts your whole existence in a better place. And so when you go to the guitar, that's what you're working with. So these are not earth-shattering concepts. I'm sure you've heard of all these things before, but that doesn't mean that they're not important, that they can't make a big difference. And I think they're worth talking about. So I'm just going to kind of list them a little bit quickly. The first thing is get plenty of sleep, right? I used to be a late night partier, staying up late all the time. Even if I was just at home, I would stay up late. And I've completely cut that out. I don't do that anymore. And I have more energy. My body feels better because if it needs to rest and recover, it's allowed to do that. And my mind can rest and recover. And I can get up earlier. I can get up at 6 in the morning, get a couple of hours of practice in. And even if I can't get back to the guitar for the rest of the day, I've still had that really beneficial work time every single day. The second thing is exercise. So I've come up with a quote that I use in terms of talking about exercise that I think is really true. And that is that exercise is good for people that want to be alive. So if you want to be alive, you should be exercising. If you already are, then that's fantastic. If not, find a way to exercise. It's great for your body. I'm convinced that our bodies need this type of challenge and stress and strenuous effort that we probably don't get otherwise unless we take time out of our schedule to do it. And I've talked in the past about building strength, and that will directly help the guitar playing. But even if it's not that, if it's endurance or yoga, whatever the case may be, exercise is vitally important for your body and also put your mind in a better place so that when you go to the guitar, all of these things are functioning as well as they can be. The next thing is diet. And this is something that I think is really important. You know, if we don't watch what we eat and we just kind of leave it to restaurants or supermarkets to sell us foods that we should eat and just eat foods that we like, we're going to be eating things that are terrible for us. Unfortunately, that's just the way the food world is right now. It's really stacked against you in terms of your personal health. So when we eat a lot of sugar and processed foods, these things are very inflammatory. And when you pound your system with these, you know, basically what ends up being all day, every day, you are much more likely to run into physical problems. And not only that, but you're just not going to feel as well. You're not going to be functioning as smoothly, as cleanly as you can. Your brain is not going to be able to work as good. And this is coming from somebody who, you know, ate terrible for basically his whole life until I just, you know, finally decided to stop doing that. And I have really noticed a difference in energy and much more able to stay focused on the things that I want to do. And the last thing I'll mention is, you know, a positive mindset or just a helpful outlook in what you're doing. And some people don't struggle with this at all. And, you know, I really admire those people. But if you're like me and that's something that you've struggled with, then you need to take time to strengthen it. So something like mindful meditation or daily affirmations where you look in the mirror and you say good things about yourself. This is real stuff. You know, I realized that one time it was made apparent to me by someone else that I couldn't say one single good thing about myself. So how do you think that's going to translate when I'm trying to play music? I'm already thinking I'm not doing a good job. It doesn't translate well, and it means that you can't play to the fullest of your ability. So taking time to, you know, work on those skills, flex those positive muscles, if you will put you in a better mindset. It'll put you in a more confident mindset, also a more humble mindset, just very open to the possibility of the way that things are going to be. And I feel like you are much more apt to find a truer form of your artistic self without being held back by negative thinking that really gets in our way sometimes. So those are just a few things that I think, you know, are ways that we can actually practice the guitar without practicing the guitar at all, because it helps your overall existence, your overall experience. And then you bring that to the guitar when you do your work, when you play your music. And what I've had to do in my schedule, because, you know, you don't have time for everything, is I don't practice the guitar as much as I used to. When I exercise, it takes me an hour and a half to 2 hours because I want to make sure I do it right and I do it to the fullest ability that I can. When you try and eat healthier, you have to cook your own meals a lot because if you go to a restaurant, you have no idea what you're eating. So that takes time. So I've found myself practicing guitar less than I used to, but feeling better about the results because these other things are getting worked into shape. And then when I bring that to my guitar work, I'm in a better place. I can think better. I feel better. I have a better outlook. and it helps me achieve the best results I can and then be satisfied with those results. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think and come join us over at the A Guitar community.